YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back with some more NFL draft prospect rankings, and today I got the safeties. Tough group to rank because a handful of these guys, I don't know if they'll play the true safety position. I really like them in the box, the slot. We'll kind of go over them when we get to them, and they've had a lot of experience in those spots, so it's a little tricky. A lot of people really like the safety class, but it's pretty solid at the top, I guess. I know top tier elite guys, but first, second round, pretty solid. But then when you start splitting them up, the true safeties, I'm not a huge fan of it. There's a lot of tackling issues here, but we'll go over these guys. And this is the last position group we're doing, so we have this whole playlist of all these different position groups. We also have another live stream coming up hopefully tomorrow. We'll keep you updated on our Twitter on that. Turn on notifications so you're ready if we go live. And final mock drafts, a couple more videos we want to get to before our live stream during the draft, which we start a little earlier in the draft, and then we're live right here through the draft, predicting each pick, giving reactions, analysis. Should be a lot of fun. My favorite day of the year. Hopefully you can join us. And then there's our Twitter in the bottom right, link in the description for that. Like I said, we keep you updated on there about live streams and the drafts. Have some polls on there. Subscriber goals at 20K, and then click that like button, notification button. Much appreciated. Let's move on to the safeties. Very tough group to rank. Number one safety for me though is not tough. I like Taylor Rapp. He's my number one safety, and then he's my only one that I graded in the first round. So only one safety I graded in the first round. People make a big deal about that 4.7 40. That you wish it was better at the pro day, but I'm not really too concerned. He looks much faster on tape, much quicker. 6 foot 208, pretty good size too for him. But what do I look for in defensive players? It doesn't matter the position. I want to see instinctive guys for defense. I think the guys that are consistently Pro Bowlers or All-Pro defensively, they have crazy instincts, which sometimes you can't really coach. You can have a guy through a meeting, through film, and they can recognize things, but just think about going on the field and, the offense gets out of the huddle and they line up. You have seconds to figure this out, and it just kind of comes to people. And instincts, freakish abilities. There's some guys that are constantly Pro Bowlers because they're just crazy athletes and freaks, maybe both at the same time. And then specifically for safeties that I like is, can you tackle and can you be rangy when the ball's in the air? But going back to my number one trait, instincts, being instinctive, Taylor Rapp, number one in that, maybe in the whole draft, really, because he reads plays. He sees them developing before they even happen all the time. You love to see it. The way he does it and the way he'll come up. And then there's people that say he's a box guy. He plays free safety. I think those are highlight watchers. His best moments, I guess, maybe, are when he comes up into the box. But I think most of the time it's because he knows the play. And who does that sound like? To me, it sounds like Harrison Smith, who might be the best safety in football. The only difference is Smith has a little more size on him, so I guess that makes him a little more impressive. But Rapp, same thing with Smith. He struggled on his 40-yard dashes, and people doubted him with that. So not really the same, build or anything, but it just in terms of the instincts and coming up and the way they move and react when they see the play developing, it reminds me in that sense of Harrison Smith. So I really like Taylor Rapp. I'm not worried about that speed. And he obviously, there's people that say he's like a box guy, even a linebacker guy. He's played free. He's had so many snaps at free safety. There's been times where he's back there by himself, and he's actually further back, deeper than he actually probably should be. So you got people saying he lines up at linebacker every time. It's not the case. But he does come up there, and it's impressive because he does multiple different things. So I view him as a safety, and he's my number one safety, and I like him at the end of the first round there. Number two, things get real tight after number one, let me tell you. Number two is Juan Thornhill, though. Second round grade, early second round. He potentially can go late first. 6 foot 205, pretty good size there. He's my number two safety. Juan Thornhill from Virginia, super athletic. Like I said before in other videos, I'm not a huge fan of comparisons, but I really do like maybe my favorite comparison here is the Byron Jones comparison from the Cowboys. He was a corner, turned safety, and he played very well at safety, but because of what the Cowboys had going on, they put him at corner, plays at a high level there. Juan Thornhill, not only does he, play like him, his style is like him, he was a corner, switched to safety, and you very well can put him at corner. It's pretty crazy that Thornhill is I think he's a top 5 corner and a top, obviously here you see him number 2, and a top 5 safety in this class. That's how, good he is. That's where he can move around. We've seen him play in the box. Yeah, he could also be a box guy, could be a slot guy, could go back to corner. Also do like him at strong safety. He's been good downfield on deep balls too. So I consider him a safety, but it's about a 50-50. Could be a box guy, could go back to corner. So I guess that's more than 50-50 there. But I like Juan Thornhill. Freak athlete too. Speed, quickness, can jump, everything there is. So you got to like Juan Thornhill here. I like him early second. Crazy athlete there. And number 3, I got Deonte Thompson from Alabama at number 3, 6'1", 195. I got a second round grade on him, and I'm glad I went back to the tape for I don't know how many times with a lot of guys, but I went back to the tape on Deonte Thompson, and I'm so glad I did, because let me give you the time frame here for timestamps for Deonte Thompson. So we're during the regular season of college football. This guy is the number 1 safety. He might even be a top 10 pick. Bama hasn't really played anybody at this point. And then we get to the playoffs, or right before the playoffs, actually. You get to Georgia, and then you get to Oklahoma and Clemson. The best competition they played all year. The Georgia game was not good. These games together really weren't the best. So that's kind of in your head. Maybe, okay, he's a late first. He had some bad games. Everyone has their bad games. But you kind of dropped him down because he did play the better competition. And then the injury kind of comes up, kind of moving him down to early seconds. Injury shouldn't be too serious. He's not going to be able to work out the combine out of this, so I guess we're dropping him down a little more. You're kind of going back, look at the tape. Tackling could be an issue, in the open field, middle of the field. Puts himself in a weird situation, kind of turns his body a little bit. So people are moving him down late second, even early third. But I go back, the injury's not too concerning right now, and I go back, and you just remember what you saw during the regular season. And I talked about instincts being my number 1 for really any defense player. Being a freak athlete's up there for any defense player. But for safety, I'm looking for range in the pass game. And this is your number 1 range safety in this draft. He can go from sideline to sideline. Before the quarterback even throws it, he knows what's happening. He knows what's developing too. And he can go in there for an interception or the pass deflection. So I really like that in a passing league. And then going back and looking again at the tackling, like I said, the middle of the field, open field, one-on-one does need some work there. But on the sideline, he seems good. He's good to go for me on the sideline. Like, he gets the job done out there. And that for a free safety, that's really what you need. In the NFL, you shouldn't have too many one-on-ones in the middle of the field. I mean, the strong safety is there for more of that support, and the linebackers are good these days. So I'm liking Deonte Thompson. I'm starting to move back up, but Rapp and Thornhill, a little safer picks because they're more complete. And then Thompson does have a slight injury concern, so I'm kind of back up on Thompson here, but not quite to the first round. Number 4 is Nasir Adderley from Delaware, 6 foot, 206, maybe just a hair under 6 foot, I think it was. And then my grade on him is second round. Excellent in the passing game, really is what it is. And, he didn't really play the best competition. I guess that's the question. It's not really a weakness. It's kind of a question mark. Some people view him as corner. Yeah, he was kind of in a lot of man-to-man as a safety, but not like a box safety, not a slot guy either, not at the line. So a little strange. So how will he transition to NFL, playing against NFL talent and an NFL defense? Some people like him at slot corner or corner. So I guess it depends on the team he gets traded to, but he's an athlete, but first he's a playmaker. So I do like Adderley there. And we're going to start to get to, and it's hard to split these guys, we're going to start to get to the guys that I don't think are true safeties, but I do like them. So it's very tough. Jonathan Abram I like a lot. He could go late first. The considered strong safety for Mississippi State. He's had some reps at free safety too, but most of his reps, big time, most of his reps are in the box. And he's constantly in the box. He's really not that great covering downfield like deep safety or anything. So I think he's going to be a box player. So the guys we went over, I view it before him, I just all view as safety. So in terms of the safety rankings, I got him at 5, but he's good hitter, good tackler, doesn't really miss tackles. So very impressive. He can blitz too. He's had a lot of pass rushes too. So it's just, he's really rarely at a true safety position. But you do like the way he flies around the field and hits people. I think he very well could be a first rounder, but I like him in the second round. Here, Jonathan Abram out of Mississippi State. So now we're on to the next group of guys. 6 is Chauncey GardnerJohnson, and same thing as Abram, but he's more of a slot guy. It's just he'll line up at free safety too, and he's done well there at times too. You look at the Michigan game, the bowl game, very impressive in that game, and was kind of deep a lot of the time. But most of his reps come from the slot, so I think that's where he'll play. So not really a true safety, but can play the free, like I said. Again, had to. These guys are so close, had to split them up a certain way. Go back to 2017, Chauncey GardnerJohnson's tape was on the bad side. It wasn't too good. A lot of whiff tackles. It doesn't really look like he knows where he's going, what he's doing. But big-time upgrade in 2018, which is good to see him improve, but are we going to continue to get that? So a little question mark there. 7 is Darnell Savage. Could be, a free safety, normal traditional safety here, but has moved up into the box and then made plays in the backfield, which you like. Like the high motor guy, gets in the backfield, makes a big hit or two, has whiffed in the backfield too, or towards the sideline on some plays, but just needs to slow down a little bit. Pretty aggressive, but you got to like Darnell Savage. I think he can be a second rounder too. Amani Hooker, I think another slot guy. Played a lot of it at Iowa, manned up on some slot receivers, some tight ends, so I think he can do some more of that. He's at 8. Will Harris from Boston College, I like him at strong safety. I think he could go third, could be a fourth-round guy. Pretty athletic, could be physical too. Really pretty balanced safety. Every part of his game's good. Apparently, teams are raving about his character too, so that's a good thing. Number 10 is going to be Mike Edwards from Kentucky. I view as a strong safety, but I think he can play corner too. Could end up in the slot. You've seen him come up and press guys and has done a very good job, very good technique pressing and running downfield with the guys. So you got to like that from Mike Edwards. Can tackle too, not going to miss a whole bunch of tackles or anything. So pretty good number 10 safety there. And then looking at the rest of my safeties, and I'll put a link of this in the description. Next is Sheldrick Redwine. Very athletic, was very good at the combine, and he can be a playmaker at the next level too. Shades of Eddie Jackson, maybe here and there. Reading the quarterback, jumping some routes. So athletic guy. I like him at free safety. Really, that's it. I just only like him at free safety. There's some talk about corner. Don't agree with it. He has played corner in the past, but I just don't see the need to switch him back here. Marvell Tell at 12, free safety. I think he can play either safety position. I think he's, I don't use the lockdown safety term a lot. It usually applies to corners, but a safety that doesn't really allow much to happen, not super flashy though, that's going to be Marvell Tell. Just make sure he's reading the quarterback, and that's what he does the best. Marquise Blair at 13, more of a box guy. He's lined up with the linebackers a lot down there, so he's not going to be covering deep. So I kind of want to categorize him with those box guys. Maybe when I'm going to update my spreadsheets and have that for you guys to look at, so all the rankings are on one page for the draft. I will probably have a DB group where it'll be slot and box guys. We'll have corners, we'll have safeties, and we'll have that extra group. So I think Blair can fall in there. Woods is about a 50-50. He could fall in there too. Could be the strong safety, but I've seen him come up with the line and press guys, and pretty good running with guys. The fastest guy at the combine. Not super good covering deep in zone. Can come up and tackle too. So Woods is a solid number 14. Jaquan Johnson at 15 could be a strong safety. Somewhat undersized, people think. Seemed like a playmaker 2 years. Seemed a little better 2 years ago than this year. Saquon Hampton, free safety from Rutgers. He's getting a lot of love lately. There's a huge gap after that to me. After 16, then there's guys we're talking about late picks. Ugo Amadi is going to be a slot guy. Could be a solid one. Lucas Dennis was a playmaker pretty much his whole career at Boston College. Slightly undersized, but I'm looking at the tackling. Tackling's an issue for me. Sometimes looks like he doesn't want to. Sometimes I don't think he can. So a little bit of both there. Mike Bell, not the worst tackler, but can work on it for sure. Very good in coverage with the ball downfield, but then lacks speed at the same time. Malik Gantz, pretty good sleeper from Marshall. McIntosh, not getting enough love out of Washington. Evan Worthington, very good in the pass game. Another one of those guys, very good in the pass game, but I just do not like his, really all over the field. Tackling is an issue, the way he goes about it. He doesn't put himself in the right position, misses a lot of tackles to me. He kind of lets himself be blocked, if that makes sense, kind of goes into the blocker instead of making the tackle sometimes. So I'm not quite as high on him, but looks pretty darn good downfield and coverage sometimes. So there's some upside there. And then the rest of the guys most likely be undrafted guys there. Mark McLaurin, Jonathan Crawford, and Dakota Dixon. So that's my 27 safeties. Again, I kind of mentioned a lot of these guys are not true safeties in my opinion, but they're heck of football players. Like Jonathan Abram, really good player. Just as a safety, I got these guys ahead of him for right now. So it's going to be interesting. It's definitely a group where it applies if your team takes like a guy at my number 5 spot over a guy at my number 3 spot. But if you need more of this guy, it makes sense. So I'm not going to, when I do my grades, winners and losers, there's no way I'm going to punish somebody or not give him a good grade just because they took a guy a little lower when a guy is higher available that's higher on my list, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But that's going to do it for this one. We're done with the position rankings. We got to get some more things done here. Final mock drafts. Want to do another live stream or 2 before our live stream during the draft. Can't wait for that. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for their support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.